Welcome to Recap Roman, and today I'm going to tell you about the 2019 movie An Affair to Die For. Before we start, subscribe and like it to help promote the channel. At the beginning of the movie, we are shown a married woman named Holly who is on her way to a conference from college. On the way, her husband calls her and asks about the details of her trip. And then it becomes clear that she is not going to the conference, but to a hotel outside of town where a hotel employee meets her and calls her by a different name, and tells her that her husband has a surprise for her. At this point it becomes clear that she is cheating on her husband and meeting her lover. In the closet she finds a surprise for an unforgettable experience and prepares for the surprise. But the man who entered the room is clearly not her lover. At first she was fine with it, but then because of the severe pain she asked to stop, but the man became even rougher. After the affair is over, the man goes into the next room to his wife's tied-up lover. Russell tells him not to say anything to his wife and forbids them to leave the room. If he does not listen, his wife Lydia and his daughter, who are being held hostage by him, will suffer. After Razel leaves, Everett releases Holly and she is very angry with him and does not suspect that it was her husband, in spite of all her apologies. Holly decides to leave and Everett receives a call from Razel and the man threatens him with reprisals if Holly leaves the room. In confirmation, he hears his wife's voice. Holly gets a call from her husband and Everett is distracted by a knock on the door where a security guard tells him to keep it down. At this point, Russell tells his wife that he knows about her cheating. But instead of a scandal, he tells his wife that she is in mortal danger as Everett is a maniac who has all his mistresses mysteriously disappeared, and he advises her to leave the hotel before he sees her. Afterwards, Everett offers to stay and give her a massage. Suddenly he pulls out her phone, which alarms her. Panic overtakes her and pretending to be okay she goes to the bathroom, but goes to the balcony herself where she tries to call for help. Everett leaves the room and immediately gets a picture on his phone of his wife with a knife at her throat. Upon learning that Holly is trying to escape, he breaks into the room and finds her in the bathroom. At this point she realizes that her lover is far more dangerous than she thought. Everett receives a text message stating that for every escape attempt, Russell will send him his wife's finger. The man tells him to slip Holly a sleeping pill to temporarily calm her down. He begins to actively search for hidden cameras, while Holly pulls out sleeping pills and wants to slip them to him. A little later, Everett sets up a date where he offers to have a glass of wine, but she refuses and asks for white wine. While she goes to get another wine and slips the sleeping pills, Holly slips the sleeping pills into his glass. Just as they decide to take a sip, there is a knock on the door where Dave, the waiter who brought their food, arrives and Holly tipped him. While eating, they blame each other about the beginning of their relationship, for they knew about each other's families. Their dialogue is interrupted by a knock on the door and a message from Razel. He is furious, as Holly gave a note asking for help along with the tip. Because of his lack of caution, he sends his wife's finger as promised. While Everett is in shock, Holly tries to seduce him and starts threatening him with a knife and asks him about his real intentions. He abruptly pounces on her and pretends that they are kissing and tells her that it was all planned by her husband who kidnapped his family and decided to get back at them. At this point, the sleeping pills kick in, later waking up to find Everett with a spitz in his hand and Holly chained in the living room. She accuses him of being a psychopath and says that Russell will bring the police. However, Everett finds him tied up in the bedroom with no tongue. He frees Holly, who spends her last moments with her husband. The woman sees the syringe in Everett's hand and accuses him, and then finds the note in her husband's hand and doesn't tell him about it. At this point, Everett receives a call with a distorted voice that says they must choose who will return to the family and who will die. Holly learns at this point that her daughter is also being held hostage like Everett's family. While he is thinking about what to do, Holly finds the code to the safe in a note. The woman searches for the safe, but Everett has other plans and tries to end her so he can get back to his family. Luckily for Holly, they are distracted by a knock on the door. The manager and the security guard are there to find out where their missing employee Dave is. At this time, Holly finds the safe and discovers the memory card in it. Everett returns to the room and sees Holly there with a knife. He tries to convince her that it was her husband who kidnapped his family. He even shows his wife's finger, but she still doesn't believe him. She tells him that he would have killed her if not for the hotel staff. At this point, she stabs him out of fright, but he does not try to call for help as his family is still held hostage. In his last moments, he asks her not to tell his wife and daughter about his cheating. The phone rings and a voice congratulates her on her victory. But first she has to destroy the phone in the microwave in 30 seconds. After that, she has two options: leave the hotel or go to room 513 to look for answers. Out of curiosity, her stupidity, or her search for adventure, she decides to go to room 513. She finds the room key in her husband's pants. When she gets to the room, she realizes that they have been followed all along. In another room, she finds a woman tied up, who turns out to be Everett's wife. She asks about her family, but Holly gets away with it. Before she leaves, she decides to check the memory card. The footage shows her husband installing the cameras and Lydia helping him. Lydia is already standing behind her and says that she is the one who put her husband up to plotting revenge. Everything was going according to plan, but Russell decided to stop as he just wanted to teach his wife a lesson. But Lydia wanted to kill her as well as her husband's former girlfriends. At this point, the guards enter the room and find the murders. Holly notices Dave's body. How come she didn't notice it before? Lydia says Holly's fingerprints are all over the room and that she's in big trouble. But she can prove her innocence with the memory card, but Lydia grabs it, breaks it and flushes it down the toilet. Holly becomes enraged and lunges at Lydia and kills her. And that's all. If you liked the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel because it helps to promote the video. This is Recap Roman and goodbye to you all.